Super Monkey Ball. You roll, keep your balance and reach the goal. I love this franchise. It's adorable, has good music, and the courses just ooze with creativity and offers skill-based gameplay for those who are up to the challenge. In fact, it got so popular that other game franchises try to shoehorn this gameplay style in games you will never expect them to have it, like Crash Bandicoot or Spyro the Dragon. And then of course we have data design. Do they need a mention at this point? It's one of the most infamous companies with many others that flood the Wii library with Shovelware. Low budget games with no quality control. They also got released on PS2 and PC, but we're sticking with the PS2 version because I'm bad at setting up motion controls. Yes, I'll be playing these on emulator, but can you blame me? First, it's Mythmaker's Orbs of Doom. When you start the game, you can choose between 8 characters. We have Trixie, Zoroastrian, Romeo, Belle, Felicia, Zeke, Jack, Frost, and Nick. Let's play as Zoroastrian first in the tutorial levels. And yes, they are as basic as they sound. Let's not waste any more time and let's choose Trixie for the first batch of levels. I shall describe how this controls. Terribly awful. I can barely pick up momentum and the turning is like trying to move a tank, which can be a problem in later levels. You might notice that later levels don't have a timer. Well, that's because I already finished some of these levels before, and after you finish it, you'll get an option for Star Challenge and Time Attack. That's right, timer is optional in this Monkey Ball ripoff game. Which is good for a game like this, because that will make things more frustrating. Level 2 introduces exploding blocks, which you have to destroy by building up speed. Remember, speed and momentum isn't something this game is good at. Look, I'm not saying I'm good at Monkey Ball games, but the controls there are excellent. After slowly trying to roll down the hill, I ended up with 8 tries. Next one is where I have to push down bridges. Moving on. Speaking of pushing down bridges, triple jump is a level I had hard time figuring out. All I had to do is to push these ramps to create a bridge, and then you take the ride on this windmill. What? The next set of levels is more of the same with bad controls, but then we get to level 3. This is the worst level in this game so far. You have to slowly roll on what I assume is human tongue, and you have to be so patient. You go too fast, you fall out. You go too slow, you fall out. And a lot of the time you just ended up glued to the wall. After 25 tries I finished this level. And after that it's not a lot better. You climb the tower. If you fall you have to do it all over again. 2 worlds done, only 3 to go. First level is whatever. It's fairly linear. This next level features the return of these exploding boxes. Great. Third level has this paddle that flings you further, and you basically have to slowly roll downhill and at the last section stop and turn around. 1 try this time. And now I'm avoiding hammers, these spinning roads and cheese? Right. This house level is awful. You need to build up your speed to make it all the way up to the rooftop while also wall rolling and not falling down. I like the idea behind it, but again, the controls. Alright, it's time for spooky levels. And right off the bat, this character Zeke I chose has a very annoying scream. Oh yeah, the level. The only interesting thing about it is the domino section. Otherwise, it's zigzag climbing. It's also where I tried the Star Challenge. Only this is that you collect red stars that unlock the locked gate. That's really it. It only gives you a high score at the end. Another level that took few tries to beat. After climbing this long road, you then have to roll down on this curvy bridge, which in Monkey Ball will be easy but not in this game. And if that wasn't enough, this happened. What the actual heck? This one isn't any better. You need to drop down these bridges and face them the right way to make it to the goal. It didn't really took much tries, but more so, my precious time. This set of levels just keeps getting worse. This time, it's 3 layered maze. I spent quite the time in there. I'm so glad I eventually made it to the end. Last challenge was this one with spinning platforms, and it's just as awful as it sounds. Finally, the last world. Let's finish this Orb of Nightmares. Now you might be saying,
but Striker, these look very easy. What could possibly be the problem?
Controls. I never want to play this again. What's next on our list? Maybe I'm going to say this because my soul was tarnished after playing Orbs of Doom, but this hamster game isn't that bad? It's in no way good, but it's less awful. There's still something I need to mention. In the main menu, there is a hamster care guide, which is interesting because I haven't seen any Shovelware game do this before. And look, I don't have the best Photoshop skills, but at least they're better than whatever this is. Please don't cut kids. Thank you. But man, these toy room levels are actually alright. You roll around up and down on this racetrack, and there's even a level where you need to avoid slot cars. Wow, call me impressed. Controls are still a problem. The turning is bad, you can barely stop while moving fast, and the camera is tripping and shaking. And that's where all my praise stops. I noticed a trend with these ripoffs. They all have these platforms you need to slowly push. I feel like they do this to put out the short games they produce in like what, 2 weeks or less? What caught my interest was this level. It looks awfully similar to Double Spiral from Super Monkey Ball 2. Except they literally doubled the spiral. Wow, very original. Last garden level is this one with spring platforms, and it's actually alright? Why am I being so positive? Next up we got kitchen level with sweets, it sort of gets worse. This one is alright though. You speed up and go around the loop, and then roll downhill to make it to the next loop. And then go on that path and go around the loop, and then finish the level. Phew. Now this is where it gets bad. You see these arrows? Well, it won't be the last time we see them. But basically, you're supposed to flip these switches. Once that's done, you'll flip the giant switch. Or try to. This next one looks simple. You jump from ramp to ramp. However, you go too fast, you fall out. You go too slow, you fall down. And the ramps are sort of curved, so it's really easy to fall off. Well, I guess it's time for the last world. The attic. And it's the worst one. Yep, no more positives. This downright sucks, and can you guess what returns? That's right, arrows. Sure, it doesn't look too bad, you climb on castle, balance on vinyls, but then there's the ship level. Oh, the ship level. And what might be the worst use of arrows in this game? Sure, it tells you where to go, but at that point, you shouldn't be a game designer. That will be like if Super Monkey Ball introduced a helper option. Oh, that was a joke. Please don't take that seriously. Another level that suffers from the arrow issue. But it's another level with not exactly a bad idea. Imagine rolling down Golden Gate Bridge in a plastic ball. The only problem here is the momentum and the junky camera. The last level in the game. You balance on this snake, which reminds me of the snake path in Dragon Ball. Not bad, just that it's harder with the poor controls. This wasn't as awful as I expected, but I won't call it good. Let's see what we got next. Maybe it's also gonna be less terrible. Now for a game I actually owned, but then sold. Hamster Heroes. I bought this alongside Alarm for Cobra 11, which I still own. Since I probably won't be covering any of these games based on the hit German TV show, I'll just say this. This is the completion bonus. You've unlocked everything. Nice. There's not much I can say that I haven't said about the previous ripoffs. Except this one has a pretty generic theme, in that all the levels look the same. And there's no hamster guide this time, so it already makes this game uninteresting to look at. Still, there might be levels worth talking about. But how it feels to control. Same like the previous games. It's almost like they're reusing the same engine. And the courses? I don't know. Some of them are weirdly bent over, and others require you to push down ramps with a lot of force. But you know what? With better controls, this isn't a bad idea. It's already much better compared to move platforms slowly to create a path. But also, there's this level that I can only describe as that rainbow level in Super Mario 64, but with Monkey Ball physics. You'll be surprised to hear that I think it's actually alright, since you need to avoid hazards, and if you miss a platform, you can just get on the other one right behind you. That isn't to say that it's perfect, but at least it's better than the level with spinning platforms that are multiplied. Great level design, guys, surely not copy-pasted at all. And before I wrap this all up, I might as well mention a level that took me 28 tries. Why is that? You have to once again roll downhill. Simple enough, right? But then you have to do the same thing, except there are holes and you need to fall into one of the holes. When you do, you then go down this curved path. I I died by either overshooting or falling down on the last section. It was awful. Overall, it's not good, but also not entirely awful. It again controls poorly, and some of the design choices are weird. At least it didn't put arrows everywhere, so there's that. And I'm done. There can possibly be another one. We've covered all the ripoffs. What's that? There's an American Tail on PS2, and it's a Super Monkey Ball ripoff. Oh. Haha, that's right. They're not done. And even better, it's based off a movie I still haven't seen. This ripoff was published by the lovely people at Blast, breaking you on a quality trash. But you're here for a Super Monkey Ball gameplay, and here it is! What's even better is that you start on a ship. The same ship we've seen in Habitrail Hamster Ball. Reusing assets, I see. And of course the arrows come back. Listen, if you need to put arrows everywhere instead of making a good level, you failed as a game designer. And this cutter was not meant to be in a ball. It looks like I'm stuck in a bubble instead of a plastic ball. Let's just get the cheese and move on. This level is much worse though. You have 3 paths with checkpoints and you need to collect all 3 pieces of cheese. I took the first path. I move on thick ropes while avoiding barrels. You then climb up and need to quickly go through all the barrels without falling down. We got 1 cheese. What's next? Slowly pushing platforms? Again? And this one takes even longer to do? And no amount of arrows will make this level fun. 1 more cheese to go. Now for the last section, 8 more barrels, yay. And this won't be so hard if it wasn't for the damn camera. I died more than once on these stupid barrels. There, I got all the cheese pieces. Next level and... well... looks like rest of the levels won't be Monkey Ball related, so... thanks for watching and see you No. We're going to go through all levels. You're flying on a bird while collecting corn. This corn is important to keep the bird's stamina. If you run out of the stamina, you have to start the whole level again. This is just dreadful. Not to mention it has the worst water texture I have ever seen in a game. Yay, cheese. Bonus level. Oh, alright, you're just falling down with a parachute. The hitboxes suck, but hey, I finished the level. Now we're crossing the streets. We're in this weird 2D perspective while avoiding pedestrians, horse carriage, and the weirdest horse carriage I have ever seen. Also watch out for the manholes.
Cheese.
Another bonus. It's the parachute level again, but set in night instead of afternoon. Next. Now we're chasing some mosquito. If you get too close you lose. If you get too far you lose. You also need to do platforming, but the double jump in this game is really bad. Level done, and are you kidding me? Another parachute, and this one is filled with all kinds of death traps. Wasn't this supposed to be a Monkey Ball video? What am I doing with my life? Another silver level, and this time you are the one being chased. You're also riding on this roller skate which controls awful. And after you escape, what do you get? Cheese. Final level of the game, and it's a mess. First you control this giant mice man. Second, what's my objective? On the right corner of the screen you can even see T-posing cats. T-posing cats! How did no one notice this during testing? And here's the kicker. You don't even need to do the objective. You just need to collect the cheese at the end of the level. Amazing! Oh nice. Don't you love it when licensed games post a movie for you? Dedicated to the hard-working team that put together and made this happen. Okay, I'm not going to make fun of them. The publisher Blast Entertainment probably forced its team to produce dozens of games in what seems like 2 weeks. Without a doubt, this was one of the worst games. Not even games, just a collection of random mini-games disguised as gameplay styles. If I had to rank these games from worst to least terrible, it will be American Tail, Trixie Orbs of Doom, Hamster Heroes, and Habitrail Hamster Ball. It's unbelievable how much shovelware these companies used to make. And worst part is, it worked! They were perfect for a birthday gift. Happy birthday, Jimmy! Here's Eminem's kart racing.
But Mama wouldn't marry your kart.
Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like and comment. And see you next game.